Alrighty, we're going to go over some quadrilateral vocabulary. Woo woo! It is currently Taco Tuesday, and I just enjoyed my tacos. It was wonderful. So our first word is congruent. This is a word that we had last unit. Remember, congruent means the exact same. Congruent means the exact same. So for example, if we think about a square. Square is one of our quadrilaterals. Congruent means the exact same. On a square, all of the sides are the exact same. And we see that with those little marks. Those marks mean that every single one of those sides is the exact same. On a square, we also know that all the angle measures have this little box in them. How many degrees is that little box? 90 degrees. That little box is 90 degrees. So all of the angles are congruent in a square, and all the side lengths are congruent in a square. What other quadrilateral has congruent side lengths? A rhombus. A rhombus also has congruent side lengths. They're all the exact same, but the angles are different. The side lengths are the exact same, but the angles are different. Our next word is parallel. Parallel are lines that will never cross. If the lines are parallel, that means that they are lines that will never cross. So for example, we have a trapezoid as one of our quadrilaterals. And the definition of a trapezoid is that it has one set of parallel sides. So that means these two sides are parallel. We use that symbol to show that they're parallel. Let's draw those symbols over here. I think that's a good idea. You can have one set, or maybe you'll have another set on the same shape. And so that would have two little arrows pointing up. They kind of look like small little Christmas trees. On congruent, we had those little lines on the side lengths, if they were the exact same, if they're congruent. And then if we have angles that are congruent, remember we have that one line in the angle corners, or multiple lines on the angle corners, if they are congruent. Our next word is perpendicular. Perpendicular means that we have lines that intersect or cross at a 90-degree angle. So the mathematical symbol for perpendicular looks like this. That sign means that things are perpendicular. We can tell that things are perpendicular, that they intersect at a 90-degree angle, like we talked about up here if they have that little box in the corner. So if you see that little box in the corner, that means that things are perpendicular. On our notes, we talked about how rectangles, all corners, all angles of a rectangle are 90 degrees. So those side lengths are all perpendicular to each other. We also talked about how on a trapezoid, you can have up to two perpendicular 90-degree angles. I don't know why I just changed colors there. I just realized that. But it's okay. We will move on. On the back page, our next word is vertex. A vertex is a corner of an angle. A corner of an angle. So for example, if I have a quadrilateral, looks like that. If I have a quadrilateral, each one of those corners is a vertex. It's the corner of an angle. And so we see them labeled by letters. So I would say A, B, C, and D. Vertexes are those corners. We'll put corner of an angle or a polygon. A vertex is a corner of an angle or a polygon. There's no sign for that, really. Lines of symmetry. Lines of symmetry is a line that bisects or cuts in half. A line that bisects, cuts in half a shape. So both sides are the same. That was a longer one. And like we just talked about up here, we'll use bisect again down there. So, for example, if I have a trapezoid, this is called an isosceles trapezoid because these two are the same. Isosceles trapezoids, those slanted sides, are the exact same. A line of symmetry that a trapezoid has would be a vertical line. So if I just cut it down the middle, this side is the same as this side. That'd be vertical symmetry. If I were to take a rectangle, a rectangle would also have vertical symmetry. A rectangle could also have horizontal symmetry. Because if I give it a horizontal line through the middle, the top and the bottom are the exact same. That was horizontal symmetry. And then let's also do a square. All my sides are the same. All my corners are 90 degrees. A square has vertical symmetry, horizontal symmetry, and it has diagonal symmetry. Diagonal is a line that looks like that. That's our last word. Diagonal symmetry. I can also go from the other corners. The diagonal symmetry. Our next word is bisect. We already talked about bisect up there. Bisect means to cut in half. That prefix bi, that means two. So we're cutting it in half. We're cutting into two equal sides, or two equal sizes. So for example, if I have a line, that is exactly 1 inch long, if I want to bisect that line, I want to cut it in half, I would cut it in half at exactly half. If I cut right here, I just bisected it. It was 1 inch, but now this is half of an inch, and this is half of an inch. I cut that 1 inch line in half. I bisected it. Lines of symmetry. Bisect the shape. Like we saw up here, vertical lines is the same on the left and the right side. Sorry, that was vertical. Horizontal symmetry, the top and the bottom, those lines are bisected, they're cut exactly in half. Diagonal symmetry, it's cut in half, just in a slanted way. And then our last word is diagonal. Diagonal means that we have a line at an angle. That angle specifically is a 45-degree line. The more I think about that, it's not necessarily always at a 45-degree angle. It is if it's a square. We're going to say it's a line at an angle that connects opposite corners. I like that better. A diagonal is a line that's at an angle that connects opposite corners. So let's say I have this parallelogram here. A diagonal is going to connect those opposite corners. So this corner right here, this corner right there, they are opposites. A diagonal line will connect them. This corner here and this corner here, they are opposites. A diagonal line will connect them as well. If you have questions about any of these words, please let us know. Otherwise, go ahead and go on to the activity.